As you know, we finished our fourth week, as well as committee work has officially ended on all House bills in the House of Representatives for the first half of the 56th legislature. Some interesting developments. First of all, I'll go back. I want to point back out the fact that the Real ID bill will be signed into law this afternoon. We're excited. We think that's a demonstration of how priority issues can move quickly through this process, moving quickly 2 weeks through the House, 2 weeks through the Senate for the governor's consideration. We did pass a wind bill out of committee today, I believe, or yesterday, that will address the zero emission tax credits to the state of Oklahoma. The bill calls for an end of the zero emission tax credit July 1st of this year. And what's significant about that is we believe that it has a fiscal impact. There's been some talk about a 12/31 closure rather than a July 1st. We think that probably saves the state of Oklahoma about $500 million over the course of the next 10 years. As well as the significant piece of legislation that took some time, that had quite a few amendments attached to it that we worked through this week, was the nurse practitioner bill. But there was obviously wide support for that measure once the amendments were dealt with on that measure. So I think it's another very productive week for the House of Representatives, moving legislation through the floor, significant legislation out of committee to address tax credits, which is part of our focus on the budgeting process. Now that the committee work is concluded on legislative bills, we'll be working through those that get published and are moving forward through the floor these next 3 weeks. But the budgeting process is, once again, there's a lot of effort and time, consideration being looked at. Once again, we will continue to focus on tax credits, deductions, exemptions, efficiencies in this portion of the budget process, and we'll be looking at all measures and considerations are still being discussed and talked about, and we'll continue on through the process. But I'm very happy at the conclusion of the fourth week of this legislative session with the work and the accomplishments that the entire body has achieved at this point. The House of Representatives has identified teacher pay raise to be a priority for our caucus. We have one bill, one measure, a phased-in approach over 3 years that I fully expect will advance from the House of Representatives to the Senate. And we're hopeful and believe that there is a way to work with the Senate to accomplish that this year. We have very good communications with Senate leadership. I speak frequently to Pro Tem Schultz, and we are diligently, what we agree on is that we want to take care of the issues most important to the people of the state of Oklahoma. I would hope that we would have a $1,000, under our plan, be a $1,000 teacher pay raise in the first year, and that would begin in the next school year, would be my hope. Followed by a $2,000 pay raise the following year and a $3,000 in the third.
I serve as the House Majority Floor Leader for the Oklahoma House of Representatives. I assign bills, I assigned committee assignments, and I set the agenda for what goes on the floor. We're doing something very different this year that I wanted you to all be aware of. There's nothing significant about the document you have in front of you in that there's something significant inside that document, but these are being presented every day in advance, so members, and by the way, the citizens of the state of Oklahoma, can know what is going to be voted on the floor that day. I know many of you that have been here for a long time, sometimes you want to know when your bill's heard. You don't want to sit around all day if you don't know what's going to be heard. You want to know what's coming. I've been doing this every day since the start of session. So it's a new idea we've had. I have recently put this online so the public can have access to it. If you go to www.okhouse.gov on the OK House main webpage. At the bottom, you will see daily activities calendar. These are being put out. We have, to date, not heard a single bill on the floor that was not on the daily activities calendar. This is different from the floor agenda, which you're probably all used to, of all the bills. Right now, I have the floor agenda in front of me. I believe there are 80 some odd bills that are ready to be heard on the floor. But for members and for members of the legislature, members of the public, members of the media, it's important to have some understanding of what's coming up when and do things generally and in order. I'm also proud to say we have gotten off to a very quick start in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. Stats are boring, but here's a couple. We've heard 74 bills off the House floor so far. We have come to major agreements on major pieces of legislation, not the least of which is getting the Real ID bill out within the second week, an agreed upon language that was signed by the governor. We have one wind bill with title on. It is a speaker bill that I present with an agreement to end the wind tax credits on July 1. We have one teacher pay raise bill, a 1, 2, 3 plan. It was very important as our members knocked on doors and talked to the citizens of the state. What we heard over and over again is they wanted us to seriously go about the business of the state. So what we're trying to do and is to show that we're going about doing that, and we're doing it in an efficient manner.